All right, what is going on, everyone, and welcome back to November's edition of How I Make Billions of Silver Every Day. And every month it's a little bit different, so I like to document what I do. And whether you're a beginner or you're an endgame player, there might be some tips for you guys. And I assume that if you're a veteran player, a lot of these are just kind of obvious. But if you're just starting the game, or you are just trying to look to make more silver, here's what I do. And a few things that are different from this month that we'll talk about is some things got changed, like quality of life, or the past few months, just certain activities are worth more than before. So, as always, whether you're a beginner or an endgame player, something you should always do is Imperial Delivery. Now, the reason why we do this is because it's always profitable, even if you just buy the materials off the market and turn it in. So just as a quick overview of how this works, go to the Imperial person. You'll see a number right here, like your amount of daily delivery quantity. And that number is your contribution point total divided by 2. And so basically what you do is you get them over here. And then in the tooltip, it'll just tell you what you need to use to make one box, and then you can multiply that by the number of things you do. So for me, it's about, I would say, probably at least 100 to 130 mil profit every day. I've made it before. I've also bought it off the market, and then you just craft it. It takes like 5 minutes. So you can see right here, our balance is 0 silver in inventory. We could turn in 217 a day. And then suddenly we just made 244 in about 5 minutes. So obviously you have to factor in the cost of all the materials. And then after that, that's your profit. But I would just recommend making sure to do this every day. And whether or not you have a lot of contribution points or not, it's always going to be profit as long as you are within the guru range, I would say. I think even in master level, things are profitable. But from beginner 1 all the way up into guru cooking, it doesn't take that long to actually get there. It's just a matter of getting there itself. So just a quick tip for all of you who have never cooked before, and you want to like boost your levels for cooking. We talked about all the nodes that I've done before. Like I have a separate video of my entire node setup. I'll try to leave a link in the description if I can. And it basically points out all the notable nodes and things that I think are worth a lot. But one of them is the like chicken meat one. And then a lot of these are like potatoes, bird eggs. You can make stuff as well. And what I have done over time was made a lot of grilled bird meat of just the node. And then it's very easy. You can just buy it off the market as well. And then cook it yourself. And then you get to buy products and then turn it into that. So that's one way. Cooking, just in general, anything will give you byproducts, and then you turn it into silver that way. So for me, over 100 mil profit in 5 minutes, easy. The next thing I wanted to talk about is farming. And with this week's patch, they actually made farming a little bit, it's not different. It's just they have a pay to win option. So even if you don't do it, that's fine. It's not even a big deal. I personally invested 100 CP into farms. And while I don't think it's a bad thing, if you buy the pay to win farms, it's like basically, I don't know how much it is if you buy 8 of them. But essentially, 80 CP goes back to you if you do. And you just add a few million silver a day. Just if you were to exchange that CP into workers, and then you get the materials. So it's not a bad thing. I think it's fine if you pay for the fences if you can. Otherwise, it's not really a big deal. So farming, essentially, what you would do is also you get these leaves, right? You could either turn it into contribution points, which also brings back to our cooking and getting more contribution points. And you get to make more boxes, which means more profit. Other people have used it on the Stonetail Fodder, which is basically going for tier 9 horses. And I think that's a good thing. I used to do that too. Nowadays, I just turn everything into contribution points. trying to boost this number up so I can just put more stuff on nodes, which I think is overall good. So farming, that actually got changed where you can buy these Fence of Abundance off the market and or the Pearl Shop, and they essentially do the same thing. It's just one costs CP, one costs real money. I just chose the CP route because I already had it. I'm too lazy. So yeah, now that's a new option as of last week. And another thing I do every day is the Pit of Undying. If you don't know how to start it, there's a little tab, or you could just type it in the search bar, Pit of Undying, and something should pop up. So basically, I think all you have to do is do a quest somewhere, probably in your suggested. I've already done it, but you go into an arena and then fight like 5 different bosses or 4 different bosses, and it gives you seals of the Undying. Let me see if I even have any left over. Yeah, over here, you basically get a lot of seals every day, which you could turn into like whatever rewards. I think the best ones to get are the Crons stones, actually, because ever since they made the change where Crons stones used to be 2 mil off the market to 3 mil from the blacksmith, or vendor Crons as we all call them, it's actually a lot. So you can make between like 150 mil at the lower levels worth of Crons, that is like 50 to 100 Crons a day, and up to 300 mil, which is actually kind of a lot for like a 15-minute activity. So in terms of time, what we just talked about, if you do your Pit of Undying at like a pretty high level, even at Tet, Pen is kind of sketch, but like even if you do it at Tet, you'll be fine. In Imperial Delivery, that's like 20 to 30 minutes, and that's like 500 mil already, which is pretty good for like a mid to lower end level player, assuming that's what you can do. And farming is just extra materials. You could sell it, but it's not really a lot. It's better for contributions. And yeah, so do your Pit of Undying. You also get this thing where you can go for the Crow's Insignia, and I actually have all 5 of them. Let me show you this for a second. Where is it? So the Crow's Insignia, basically a Pry, Duo, Tri, Tet, and then I have the Pen one. So each time you do it, like you get to choose a difficulty from Pry to Pen, and you get more rewards on the higher difficulty, but at the same time, what it gives you is like 5% more combat XP. It's not a lot because combat XP is additive and not multiplicative, so it's just plus 30% at Pen, the highest difficulty. So it's not really like notable, it's just a small bonus, which is always nice. And so you have this, and you just get more silver by doing the Pit of Undying daily, up to like roughly 300 million Crons if you chose that route. And then next, what I do every day, assuming you are logged in, your energy should generally fill up at least once or twice a day, I guess, depending on if you have the blessing and all that stuff, or if you just leave your game on while you're doing something else. So usually I do one full gather route, so like 556 energy down to 0, and that's probably about another 45 minutes. Ever since they added the green thumb minigame, you do the Land of the Morning Light, and basically you'll have this option to turn off and on right here. And when you do any sort of gathering, you pop up a minigame, and you just get like 10 times more materials for the 10 times like energy. So it's basically speeding up your energy usage, which is a good thing. So yeah, every time I do gathering, that's another few 100 mil, assuming you were to sell it. But I personally gather for the materials and then use it to cook and or process it. And so if I don't feel like grinding that day, that's just a few extra 100 mil, and then I cook it. If you know how to turn materials into better materials to sell it, it's a lot of money and silver. This is why I'm like almost Guru 30 cooking, and you just kind of learn things over time. There's a website out there, I think it's the BDO Codex. Basically, it tells you like, here, you input what kind of materials you have, and then it'll tell you like what is the most profitable versus things that are like you can make with the materials you have. So it's a lot of market research, because the prices of everything changes on the regular, to the point where if you make something one week, it might not be profitable the next week. So just keep that in mind. Make sure to always look at things that are important and what materials you have. And next we have grinding. Everyone grinds in this game. If you come into this game, that's something you should expect. So what I have been doing lately was grinding for the telescope. And as you guys know, one of the spots I'm doing is City of the Dead. I've never really been the kind of person who keeps track of trash loot because I never had any interest in those, like 1 million, 10 million loot challenges that people do. But for some reason, when I wanted to go for the telescope, I just wanted to keep track of how much trash loot I get until I got the piece. Then we get like a huge payday and I could sell all my loot. It's like a bonus. So I've been at City of the Dead, which is the 310 grind spot down in Ulakita. It is, down here. The City of the Dead, this area. And that place is not good for silver. I'm like strictly going for the telescope piece. But some things do come good out of that, which is the Origin of Dark Hunger. I'm trying to build a 300 stack, which I'm really close to it. And so my highest is a 292 stack right now, and we're saving for a Debo. I think, honestly, if you're going for a pen Debo, like a 290 stack is beyond fine. But, it's a very expensive thing to the point where I don't feel bad about pushing it to 300. But, yeah, I've been grinding. I think this is about maybe at least 60 hours at City of the Dead, 500,000 trash loot already. 1 out of 3 telescope pieces, and this one you can actually just get for turning in like the Vodkin pieces. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. It's not a lot of silver. Like I could just go to Decky at Thornwood, make like almost 2 bill an hour, but I like the treasure items, and so this is where I've been going. This is about like 16 billion right here. One day we'll get to actually sell it and get a payday of a decent amount of silver, but until we get the telescope piece, it's just there. Another thing people should do is either do your daily RBF or participate in Node Wars if your guild does it. The reasoning why is if you do Node Wars, whether your guild wins or loses, as long as you meet like the minimum requirements, which I believe is like 50 or 100 kill death between your entire guild, the NPC should open up. If you win, this opens up, and then you can buy things at a discount. And even if you lose, your guild gets a little bundle, which like each player gets like 150 mil plus some of these thingies, like the essences, along with what is it? Resplendent Medal of Honors. So basically, you could turn these into the NPC around here, and then you could trade in those medals for like extra goodies, which it's okay. It's not a lot, but like even for like an hour, you get a few 100 mil, which I know it might not be a lot compared to like an hour of grinding. But like if you are into PvP, do your daily RBF, you get some bonuses out of that, along with Node War participation, whether you're even good or not, or as long as you participate and you meet the like requirements to get rewards, you should be able to get a bundle pretty easily, and that's just a few 100 mil in terms of like goodies. So I guess if we're talking about everything, and then your daily logins, like if you do your family stuff, family fame gives you a lot of silver plus guild bonuses and everything. So if we were to recap how much all of this is, it's like Imperial Delivery, what we saw is like 244 minus the cost of everything. So probably like 150 mil farming, depending on what you're doing and how often you're doing it. Pit of Undying, 150 to 300 mil. So that's already like maybe, let's just say about 400 mil on average. This is, I wouldn't say average, it's like more on the higher end, but gathering, depending on your gather level and how much you can do, that's about another maybe 200 to 300 mil, depending on what you're doing, of course. And then grinding is, I guess, how much you grind. You can do that infinitely. So yeah, that's like probably 2 billion right there. Obviously grinding could be like 1 billion to like 10 billion, I guess, just how much you grind a day. but I took the average of like maybe 1 hour. Assuming someone just does like a Marnie Realm hour or 2. Yeah, you could make like 2 billion plus RBF, few hundred mil extra login rewards. That's about, I would say, 2.5, maybe 3 billion silver for me personally. But the tips I gave you guys for like Imperial Delivery, farming, Pit of Undying, like RBF, that's something everyone can do. Whether you're a new player or not, you just will make a little bit less than like someone who's experienced with it. But overall, I just hope you guys learned some new things, and whether you came into the game expecting to just life skill or just grind, I would recommend trying out everything. And when it comes to life skills for everyone, I know a new player will probably see this and get like overwhelmed, just like, oh my god, what should I do? All the life skills connect in one way or another. So for example, like if you do gathering, you get materials, and then you use those materials to either do cooking, alchemy, or processing and all that stuff. And then same with fishing and hunting, you get raw materials, you turn it into better materials by cooking, alchemy, processing. The ones that are really separate are like training. Do you like horse breeding? Do you like leveling up horses, which is actually pretty profitable right now? It's just kind of like on the low key profitable, because training is one of those AFK activities, but a lot of endgame players like to go for tier 10 horse attempts, which I think is a huge silver sink. And if you sell the materials, people will just buy. If you train a horse and get it to like past level 15 and sell it on the market, people will buy it, trust me, myself included. And yeah, we turn all of that into materials for tier 10 attempts. Trading, dead life skill. Farming, we talked about that a little bit more to boost up my contribution. Sailing and bartering is just another life skill entirely. Like, you go to another MMO, some MMOs don't even have sailing or ocean content. This one has a lot of things to do, and it's actually pretty interesting. So I have a lot of videos on sailing and just things you should do. But yeah, that was my video on what I have been doing this month, and hopefully you guys got some tips out of that as well. Hope it was interesting. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I would love to see you come back. I make videos for beginners, returning players, and people who are just looking to get better at the game by just doing things to improve. So hopefully some of my videos will be entertaining and or educational. So with that said, that's about it. That's all I wanted to talk about today. I will see you guys tomorrow for more cool stuff. And yeah, I'll try to leave a link in the description to a lot of other things we talked about, so you might be interested in those. So with that said, see you guys tomorrow. Peace.